Hi, I am Dinesh Naik. I've been in the field of teaching English for the last 22 years. And teaching English grammar is one of my favorite hobby. It began as a hobby and then I made it as a full-time profession. So many of the native speakers whose language is English second language, they find it greatly difficult to speak in English. What is that makes it so difficult for them? So I will give you certain important examples over here. When you look at the Indian language, all the Indian languages have what we call as subject, object, and then we put it as the verb. Here, the subject may be a name of a person or it may be a pronoun. And the verb, object can be put anywhere and it ends with verb. But in the English language, it's a little change. We put the first, the verb, and then we put the verb, and then the object. This makes a huge difference between the native speakers and the regular English speakers. What they don't understand is the intricacies of this particular word called verb. In English language, verb has two formats. The two formats of the verbs are, we call as auxiliary verb or the helping verb and the main verb. Auxiliary or helping verbs are used to indicate the state of mind. If I say, I'm an English teacher, there is no usage of any principal verb over there. But I can use the same am and say, I am teaching English to many of my students. So here in the first sentence, I am an English teacher. In the second sentence, I am teaching English grammar. This makes a huge difference. Majority of the native speakers do not use this auxiliary verb and they say English teacher. If somebody asks why you, they say English teacher. There is no subject or the verb immediately followed by the object. This makes the major difference. Now looking at the main verb or the principal verb, we have three more classifications. The first classification of the main verb is what we call as the regular verbs. In the regular verbs, it's a simple way to understand. Majority of these verbs end with E and we are going to add D in the past tense and the past participle tense. In the irregular verb section, we have one more example where we don't end, these words do not end with E. They may end with any other letter and they have different forms to take. Let me give an example over here for the regular verbs. If I say delete, I delete the message. And I'm going to add D, that means deleted. So I deleted the message. In the irregular verbs, it is I drink coffee, and in the past tense I say it as I drank coffee. But in the regular verbs, I have deleted the message from my mobile. Whereas in the irregular verbs, I say, I have drunk a cup of coffee. And this makes a huge change. Majority of the non-English speakers, they are thorough with this particular concept, but they are not very well familiar with this concept. So if you want to learn English and speak English regularly, this difference must have to be understood and followed diligently. Now I'm going to give you a certain tips how to improve your English language very well. The first tip is read regularly. Most of the students, they do not read loudly and clearly, and that gives an inhibition to them that they know English but they are not able to speak on a continuous basis. Second thing, listen to the English news channels. And third, practice whatever you have learned in the class every day. And fourth, speak as much as possible. Initially, grammatical versions may not be correct, but still, as you continue to speak longer, it takes you to a greater height. Thank you.